going on, everybody? It is Thursday, June 21st, and unfortunately, we've got another crapper on our hands. 7-game slate. Pitching is not the best, and we've got 2 games, again, in danger of not playing. I feel like this is Groundhog Day, and we're just playing out Wednesday for the second time. Jake, how did your Wednesday end up?
Wednesday was fine because I didn't pay too much attention to MLB. Played a little bit, got most of it back. Nothing special happened. Played light. So it was fine. Didn't lose everything. So that's always good when that happens at MLB DFS for a few days. And yeah, you said it best. This slate kind of, well, really tough now that one of my pitchers, I was going to be liking Junior Guerra a little bit, but now they're starting Suter because that game got postponed yesterday. So I'm sure I had a bunch of lineups with Brewers stacks. In fact, I know I did. So I was one of them. I can't catch a break with the weather this year. Every time I make a call, it seems like it's going the other way. So hopefully it turns around. You get that season-long variance balances out. I don't know. I mean, do you like anything about this slate?
I like that it's over in 24 hours.
Yeah.
It's terrible. It's just terrible. It'd be fine. I guess it'd be fine if there were no weather concerns and it was just 7 games. But even that, man, I hate the one clear-cut high-end starting pitcher days. Especially when it's the best guy in baseball. I
mean, I think it's fine for this one because people will try to get cute with their lineups. There's just such a good chance. We're talking about Scherzer. There's just such a good chance that everyone, people don't play him, and he's 60% owned, and that he scores. Even if he scores 25, that's going to lead the slate, I think, pretty easily. So he makes things easier for me, I think.
The problem lies on if it gets weird in the Cubs game and the A's game, then we lose. Well, it's not so bad that we lose Chris Bassett, Matt Harvey, and Giolito from the pitching slate. It is a bit of a problem that we lose the Cubs and the A's, 2 of my 3 favorite stacks of the day.
And White Sox too. I like the White Sox a lot.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what to make of that. It's going to make things really, really, really weird. The good news is I don't give a shit about any of the pitching in any of those weather games. So that I don't have to sweat, but it is going to be weird for the bats. I don't know.
Yeah, it's maybe we can figure some stuff out as we go, talk through it.
Yeah, let's do that. I'm going to tweet out these links quick, or retweet these links quick, and then we're good to go.
Derek Lowe, congrats on your huge day yesterday.
Yeah, man. Derek Lowe won the $50 single entry.
Really?
Yeah.
How much was that? Would you go 10 times ROI or something?
I don't remember. I just remember him saying it last. He was sweating. It was from the early slate. He was sweating the early slate in the live stream last night. I'm sure he'll tell you. But congrats. You ready to dive in?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Let's do it. Diamondbacks and Pirates. D-backs, 4-run implied total. Pirates, 4-run implied total. 50-50 game. Zach Godley for Arizona. Chad Kuhl. I feel like I just talked about him because we did. Going for the Pirates. I like Kuhl a little bit more than I like Godley here, but not by any appreciable amount. I'll end up with both of these guys. I'll end up with both of them a lot if this weather holds up. They're just solid mid-range guys. It's really hard for me to make too much of a differentiation. The Pirates don't strike out that much, which makes Godley's output a little lower, and the Diamondbacks K a ridiculous amount of times, which is what sort of pulls Chad Kuhl up. I don't have anything crazy about these guys. They're just there.
I think you make good points about both of them. So I'm not super crazy about either of them, but they will be heavily owned for me because of the nature of the slate, there are few weather concerns in this game, and we can't really say that about some of the other ones where there's pitchers that I might want to play. So these guys, neither of them have a particularly good matchup. Godly's strikeout matchup is tough. But the Pirates don't walk against righties, only 6.9% of the time on the year. And that's, I think, bottom 5 in the MLB against right-handed pitching. But they also don't strike out. So Godly, you want him to get in the groove with strikeouts, but if he's not putting guys on base, he can be a lot more efficient than he has been. When he's walking 3-4 guys and just like throwing away at bats. Like, he's kind of frustrating in that sense, but still his curveball is elite. It's a top 10 pitch, or his top 10 curveball in the league in whiffs per swing, and he's had 2 good starts in a row. So I'm kind of back in on him as far as him being closer to what we saw last year than what we saw at the beginning of this year.
Yeah, I've got him 10% to be a top 2 pitcher on DK. Chad Kuhl 14%.
Okay.
So, basically in and around 12 for those guys. I'll have them. I like them. I wish we had ownership projections, so I assume we don't yet. No, we don't.
We do not.
No.
The bosses are still traveling, I would assume. Or maybe after a rough night last night. Who knows?
Robbie in the chat, how do you project ownership? We get information from FanDuel and DraftKings and just relay it to you guys. Not true. It's just an algorithm based on a bunch of different options. And you just run regressions on what the actual ownership is until you get something decent. I know that's oversimplifying that for sure, but
it's based on like past information and what people are touting throughout the day, and
other projection sources that are publicly available.
It's constantly being fine-tuned.
Yeah. It's never done. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Always growing.
Yep.
Diamondbacks and Pirates bats. Not really the spot for me. They're both like secondary stacks at best. Wouldn't shock me if one of these teams went crazy, but outside of Jake Lamb, I don't have anybody in double digits. Anything you're looking at here?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can make a case to stack on either side because I think Godley and Kuhl will both be popular. And they're 2 pitchers that can lose it at times, lose command, throw pitches right over the plate, hang curveballs in Godley's case. So I'd more want to stack against Kuhl with Lamb, Peralta, Descalso, and Goldschmidt. That's just a nice 4. Like, Goldschmidt is the hottest player in baseball right now, maybe outside of Trout, but Trout doesn't really count because he's just insane.
Permanently hot. He's been hot
honestly,
for 7 years.
He's batting like, I saw something, he was like 16 for 28 or something this month for a stretch with like 12 walks. I don't know, maybe that's not right, but
it's probably right. That's the weirdest part of it all.
Yeah. But Goldschmidt seems like he's hitting a home run every other day for the past like 3 weeks. So just 2 through 5 for Arizona is appealing. If you can stomach Alex Avila, I think that's fine as well. But he's been atrocious all year. And then Meadows, if he's in the 2 spot against Godley, and Moran. Those are 2 guys I like against Godley. So.
Yeah, I like Meadows. I like Marte a little bit too, just at that price. If we're looking for like one-off type guys.
Sure.
I mean, everything changes if like the Cubs game goes to shit or the A's game goes to shit. Ownership will be dramatically different if those games can't go.
Right. I would say the majority of the SP2 percentages will come from this game with Godley and Kuhl. Would you agree? So it'll be Scherzer number 1 by a long shot, and then because of the weather concerns, it would maybe be Hendricks.
It's got they are really high total in that game.
Yeah, I don't know.
I could Brent Suter a little bit,
maybe, or Carmart, but he's 8K. It's not like he's easy to fit in with. Yeah, so
Godley, who are people going to? Suter for me would be the 3 that are going to get like more than a little bit of SP2 options because they're gonna need if you're paying up for Scherzer, one of these guys is gonna be heavy, and it's not gonna be Giolito or Harvey.
No.
Like today's. Speaking of pitchers, how did Austin Bibbins-Dirks finish off yesterday?
He had 13 on DK. That's one thing that did stick in my mind when I was checking scores last night.
6 2/3, 5 hits, 1 run, no strikeouts, and a walk.
No strikeouts.
Okay.
7 innings.
I'll take it. I'd prefer you to strike out someone, like somebody can just fall over in the box or something. But yeah,
that's like
Harvey and Giolito are not in the Austin Bibbins-Dirks area today, even though they're in the same price.
No.
Those guys are bad.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. This one, not much to talk about here. Orioles and Nats. Orioles, 2.6 run implied total. Nats, 4.6. Yeah, that's a full 2 runs above the Orioles, which is almost what they're projected for. Terrifying. Nats, 72% chance to win. Kevin Gausman going for Baltimore. Max Scherzer going for Washington. I've got Scherzer 62% likelihood to be one of the top 2 scoring pitchers on DraftKings, 45% on FanDuel. He is the clear best option. There's no way around it. There's no fade Scherzer narrative today. He's too damn good. So yeah, it's a lot of Scherzer. It's absolutely 0 Baltimore bats. And I have the Nats as my second highest stack on DK and my 4th highest stack on FanDuel. I love the bats.
Yeah, just this one's pretty easy for me. So Scherzer 14.5 on DraftKings. Is that the highest price we've seen this year, and maybe even over the past couple years on DK?
It might be.
I don't remember if Kershaw got up to 14.5 ever, in the past, but he's $3,800 more expensive than the next highest priced pitcher. The Orioles are god awful against righties the whole year. They're gonna probably have 7 righties plus Gausman, who's a lefty but pitcher spot. So it's bad. I would be surprised if Scherzer didn't have double-digit strikeouts here. And that's what you're paying for. You're just paying for the top raw point scoring pitcher. And I don't see, outside of an injury, how he's not at least in the top 2. So, Scherzer just a phenomenal play. Going to be the highest owned player on the slate. And then the Nationals bats make sense as well. Gausman can get blown up at times. He's got very, very good stuff. But all these power lefties scare me. Gausman gives up home runs still. Trey Turner scares me. It's just a really, really tough top 6. So I'll probably have some Gausman exposure just because I think he's talented and there's just nowhere else to go on the slate besides Godley and Cool to some degree. But I don't feel good about it, and I'll have a bunch of Nats stacks to offset that because like I've said a million times, this lineup looks incredible.
Yeah, it's I like Gausman, but I like Adam Eaton, Soto, Rendon, Harper, Murphy, and Turner more than him.
Right. If they had one less of those lefty bats, if you take Eaton or Soto or Murphy or Harper out of that lineup, then I'd be so much more excited about playing Gausman. But man, just
how do you get through that?
I don't know. And he could probably get through it once, but second, third time through, if he even gets that far, if he got through this lineup twice, I would want him out after 5 innings and take the 14 DraftKings points or whatever.
Agreed.
But I don't see how
Gausman versus lefties in his career, 4.01 xFIP versus righties, 3.73. So that's not a gigantic gap between righty and lefty talent.
Right. He's got neutral splits kind of.
Yeah, that's appealing for Gausman. It's not going to change. I don't want him. I don't want the Orioles, but I guess that's sort of a path to like a low-scoring game.
Sure. Yeah.
I only have Scherzer projected for 9.8 strikeouts, which is a little surprising to me.
Like, if you had to bet your life on it, would you bet Scherzer has 10 strikeouts tonight?
No.
I think I would.
No, there's too many downside scenarios in that. To bet my life?
Well, yeah, but...
Can I just bet money so I don't have to die? I mean,
you asked me about my life the other day.
Did I?
Yeah.
No.
Or was that Chris?
It was probably Chris.
He said if I had to put my life on, I can't remember what it was. Maybe someone in the chat remembers.
Yeah, no, I would. If I had to bet my life, I would take the under and hope that like he blew his arm out or something like that. There's way too many downside scenarios. I have him projected for 9.8. So basically, what I'm telling you is I expect it to push and him land directly on 10. So it's really hard for me to answer that one.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't bet my life on a coin flip. I mean, I hate myself and all, but I don't hate myself that much.
How many Orioles bats are you stacking up here?
Probably 0. Running out 8 righties, which is, not the recipe for success. And Jace Peterson is not exactly the hitter that I want to be the only lefty. I can't imagine. What's the ownership on the Orioles? 1% across the board? Accident lineups? Like it's.
I mean, it shouldn't be 1%. Crazy things can happen. So, on a 7-game slate, no stack should really ever be like 1%, especially with weather concerns and other games. But I get what you're saying. They're going to be like there will be players like Caleb Joseph will probably be 1% or.
Like they're the worst option by far.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like they haven't even been good against righties. Like no sign points to this. Even if we just ignore that Scherzer's incredible, they've got an 81 weighted runs created plus against right-handers and a below average hard hit rate. Like they're bad and they're facing the best pitcher in baseball.
What do you think Machado's ownership's going to be? Like 6%?
Yeah, I was gonna say 5. Why would you take him? Like, why? I wouldn't even want him as a one-off.
So. Well, he could theoretically hit a home run off Scherzer. Scherzer does give up some hard contact. It's mostly to lefties. He's insane against righties, but he's just a good hitter. And maybe he gets an at bat or two against a reliever or something. That's never a reason to take someone, but that's like the theoretical reasoning why you might want to take a Machado against Scherzer.
If he hits a solo home run, that's like 35% of their expected runs.
Right, and if he hits like let's say he hits like a 2-run home run, the leverage play still might not work out because Scherzer could still strike out 10 and go 7 innings, and then you need Scherzer to compete in tournaments.
That's the only thing. I mean, it's kind of the case for every game, but the only way the Orioles pay off as a stack is if someone hits a multi-run home run. Because if they score 5 runs, but it's all in like singles and fielder's choice and shit like that, they're still not going to be the lineup that puts you at the top of a tournament.
And they're going to need to do it off Scherzer too. Is the problem?
Right.
Like it's not like they could just they could score 4 runs in the 8th against a reliever, but if Scherzer has the strikeouts, which I don't see any reason why he shouldn't, then he's going to be the top scoring pitcher.
Yeah, I've got him 7.5 points ahead of Madison Bumgarner.
Yeah.
It's not...
I'd take the over on that, for sure.
Like I said, 62% chance of being the top 2 scoring pitcher. I would expect Scherzer's ownership to be right around that number, somewhere in the 60% range.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else to talk about here. This game is dreadful.
Yeah, let's move on.
Where the hell is that game? Baltimore. There it is. Scattered showers for that one. Nothing I think you need to super worried about, but we're getting into the worrisome games now. Like this one, for instance. Cubs and Reds. Cubs, 5-run implied total. Reds, 4.2. It's a 58% chance to win for the Cubs. Kyle Hendricks going for Chicago. Matt Harvey for Cincinnati. I don't know. These guys are bad. Hendricks is fine. I don't like this particular game for him. Total's pretty high. Cubs are my number one stack. I love the hitters in this game from Chicago. Problem is, we're going to get some water. It should be fine. I don't think that this is going to be the type of game that has a problem for hitting. So I will likely still be on the Cubs with pretty heavy volume. Are you looking at Hendricks or Harvey at all?
I would consider Hendricks if the weather gets. If we're gonna get a like a 2-hour span or like even like an hour and a half span where it looks like we might have some clear weather for him to pitch 5 or 6 innings, because like I don't think it's a really good matchup for Hendricks at all, but just to differentiate a little bit, because people are just going to be off Hendricks entirely because of the weather.
Yeah.
If there's any question about it, they'll just go to Godley or Cool or Bumgarner, like Carmart. So, yeah. So, in that sense, I think that Hendricks is a fine play just for ownership, just to get different. But yeah, like the lefties especially should tee off on Harvey. He's just awful. He just cannot get lefties out, and he's just giving up a bunch of hard contact. I don't know, man. I don't see this going well for Harvey if this game plays. So he should hope it gets rained out, because I don't know. Why isn't Ian Happ in the projected lineup?
I have no idea.
Do you know what? Well, anyways, the top 7 really all through Javi Baez. I want them all.
Agreed.
Especially the lefties, but
I could do without Almora,
yeah.
but he's whatever. I mean, he helps on like some of these guys. Zobrist is 2,800. Jason Hayward's 2,700. This is on FanDuel. Contreras is 3,000. Like, you can pretty much have whatever you want on FanDuel.
That's
so cheap.
So you can stack the full Cub stack with Scherzer, like the good parts of the Cub stack, or most of the good parts. Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't look. I have
No. I'm sorry. On FanDuel.
Oh, I would imagine you could have whatever you want.
Yeah, probably can.
So let me take a look. I can get to it quickly. I need to build this out a little bit better. But if I sort this down by just Scherzer, these are all the Scherzer lines I got. How many Chris Bryants do I have? Yeah, so Bryant, Zobrist, Schwarber, Hayward. Yeah,
I mean, that's still fine. Yeah. Zobrist I like a lot. I like Schwarber a lot. I like Hayward a lot. So I'm seeing a bunch of those guys scattered in there.
Yeah. Not very difficult to get to.
Looks like the one guy that's tough to fit in is Rizzo. I don't see any Rizzo in there.
Yeah, no Rizzo anywhere. Let me see if I have any with it. It might be you have to pick Rizzo or Bryant.
That could be
issue.
it.
So Rizzo at first, there's 4. None of them have Bryant, but it's Rizzo, Zobrist, Hayward, Almora, or it's just a 3-man there. Let me see if we have him in the utility spot at all.
I see.
No. Yeah, so it looks like it on FanDuel, it's at least in the way that it crunched to start. It's hard to get Bryant and Rizzo and Scherzer.
All right.
Which makes sense to me.
Yeah. Just for pricing issue. You can only have one really expensive bat.
So I have Hendricks 10% to be a top 2 pitcher on DK. Working this into conversation now that I have it set up.
I like
Harvey 4%. That's, about where I would expect.
Okay. That makes sense.
But Ross at 9%, Hendricks at 10, Godley at 10, Chad Kuhl a little bit higher at 15. For me, if anybody is in that group of 4 guys and is standing out one way or the other, I'll zig instead of zagging. But I think that you could just throw those 4 names into a hat and pick one out, and that'll be fine for your SP2.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm all good with this game.
I don't have any reds.
Yeah.
I guess Votto.
I have Jeanette and Botto as one-offs. Those are two guys I have written down. But
yeah, Votto's fine. If you've got $4,800 on DK and you can fill your first base slot and you need a one-off, go for it. Yeah. All right, this one makes me sad. A's and White Sox. A's 4.9 run implied total. White Sox 4.2. 57% chance to win for the A's. Chris Bassett going for Oakland. Luke Giolito going for Chicago. I'm going to get a decent amount of Bassett, but I don't expect it to matter. And by decent, I mean, I don't know, 8, 9%. I think he's going to get some ownership because of Scherzer.
Probably.
But this game looks like a weather dumpster fire. Horrid torrential rain from 6 o'clock till midnight. We're gonna need to pay attention to it big time. Wind is blowing in heavily, which makes me like Bassett a little bit more. But I'm not confident in this game at all. My only concern is the fact that I absolutely love the A's bats here against Giolito. I assume based on the way that I said I might have a little Chris Bassett, and then I saw your face. You're not really on the same side for me.
No. So short sample, but he has a 12.6% whiff per swing rate in his first 2 starts. And there are 100, or how many? There's 218 qualified pitchers that have thrown 100 pitches this year. And Bassett ranks 3rd to last, right above Bartolo Colon in whiffs per swing. And I mean, I think Bartolo has decent command, like he can have decent command at times. And I don't think highly of Bassett at all. So that makes me want White Sox bats. I think you're right, Bassett will be owned. So Moncada and Abreu and Polka and Matt Davidson, who just looks locked in the whole season. These guys will all be on my rosters, assuming this game has a chance to play. I don't know.
Looking good.
Yeah, it's not.
It's really just an unappealing set of circumstances.
Right.
Because I want to play minimum salary Matt Joyce on FanDuel so bad. I mean, granted, so will everybody else, but Joyce, Matt Olson against Luke Giolito terrifies me.
Yeah.
What is he going to do
that's a home run
if he makes contact?
Well, he's just going to walk him probably. Giolito. Oh, we got early ownership up, so we can chat about that after. But
great. Glad we prioritized the early one.
No, we did not already get to the early slate, Daniel.
Yeah, not a lot of interest in the early slate for me. Only 3 games, only 2 on FanDuel. I didn't even load it into my sheet.
I got some notes.
Jake will tackle it. I'll run a crunch on something.
Perfect.
Maybe. I probably won't.
Come on, for the people.
To be fair, this is going to be the last time we're doing this for a couple days. So
yeah, that's true. So Oakland bats. I mean, Olsen is probably both of our favorites. Joyce, if he's leading off, you said that he's min salary on FanDuel.
Yeah, $2,000 as the leadoff hitter.
And then Jed Lowry as well. So all the lefties, Dustin Fowler, even if he's in the 7th spot. Yeah, anyone's in play against Giolito. You never know when he's going to walk 3 guys in a row and load the bases for Matt Olson. So I don't know, man. I can't even kind of talk myself into either of these pitchers.
Yeah, I'm not going to be happy about having Bassett. Let's just be clear here.
Would you what price would you play Lucas Giolito? If he was $0, would you play him here?
So
I honestly don't know if I would. I'd probably have to.
Let's be clear here. I already have him in for 5%. So okay. I guess 4,300 is the answer.
Yeah, dude, he's almost min salary and he's not on a pitch count. he could go 6 innings. He had an okay start with swings and misses. So I don't get Giolito. I don't get why he's so bad. Does he have the yips or something? Because he's supposed to be a good prospect.
Because he was supposed to be like. I mean, he's the number 1 pick overall, right?
I believe so. So if he does what he did last start, 10.2% swing to strike rate, got a few chases, nothing special. He only walked 2 guys, struck out 6, gave up 5 earned. Like, you would take that, right? That's how many points is that? Like 7 or 8 on DK. I was
looking up Giolito.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Nah, I was looking up when he was drafted. Nats took him 16th overall, but I think he got drafted the year before that too, maybe.
Okay, he had 9.2 DK points last time. Would you take that right now?
9.2?
Yeah.
No.
You wouldn't?
No.
On this slate, with Scherzer on it?
No.
Oh, I would. If you guaranteed me 9.2 out of Giolito, I would have a bunch of them.
Okay, let's check something quick. Let's find out how many times I have him scoring 9.2 or more.
Okay. And your Sims?
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, this is cool. Let's try this out.
Okay, so in all of the games, I have him scoring more than or equal to 9.2. %57 of the time.
Right, but so that's just on so that's not taking into account relative scoring on the slate and then who else is on the slate. And so if you theoretically played Scherzer and Giolito, that's under 19K for 2 of your pitchers. Let's say you get 35 from Scherzer and you have 44 for your pitchers, and then you get to get in all these bats, plus you get Giolito at somewhat low ownership.
So now you're convincing. Now you're telling me that
I'm
I have to
talking
get
myself
these other
into
qualifiers.
Giolito.
Okay, Scherzer gets 35. Are you okay with Giolito's 9? That's different. But here's the reason that
that's what I'm saying.
Here's why I wouldn't be okay with 9, and I think this is a good point. Because he'd score more than 9 57% of the time, I want him to score 13.
Well, yeah,
9 is not enough for me.
It's enough for me. I'm almost talking myself into him. Or at least some exposure to him, just because he's so cheap. He had an okay start. He's had okay starts this year. Man, I don't know.
I can't do it. Not for 9. I mean, I'm going to have a little bit of him, but I would need more than 9 to lock him in.
Yeah.
I'm projecting 10.6. I don't want to lock him in at below what my expectation is.
Giolito, the slate breaker.
Yeah.
The thing is, he could at that price break the slate. If he gets let's say he goes 6 innings, allows 2 runs and strikes out 4, that's 13 to 17 points, something like that, right? So if he's 4,300 and Scherzer, that combination is going to be the key to the slate.
I've got him at 24% chance to be greater than 16 points. That seems a little high.
That seems high, but I get the point. There is a realistic chance if this weather holds off. God.
I mean, if he goes 5 innings, that's 10. Needs 3 Ks for 16.
He's going to give up runs.
You would think.
He's had 0.0 starts without at least 2 earned runs.
Yeah.
So if he can avoid the mega blow up, that's what you need at 4,300. Just don't have an inning where you give up 6 earned runs.
Where's this game at? It's in Chicago. I was gonna say, if this is in Oakland, Matt Olson might take a ball and hit it straight out of Oakland Stadium, straight into McCovey Cove in San Francisco.
Yeah. It's one of those Bond shots like we were talking about the other day.
Yeah, but clear across the city.
Guys will be paddling out to go get the Matt Olson home run.
You're gonna need more than a paddle. You're gonna need a rocket ship. Oop, I made Jake go away. There he is.
Come on, man.
So yeah, I'll probably have like 2% Giolito because of reasons. But if this game doesn't happen, it's not gonna matter.
Yeah, that's the thing. It all might be a moot point. So, whatever. We gave you some discussion on, or at least the case for Lucas Giolito.
I love the White Sox bats on FanDuel.
I love them on DraftKings.
They're so cheap on FanDuel. Moncada 3,200, Sanchez 2,600, Daniel Palka 2,500, and then Abreu only 3,400. Getting a first baseman, second baseman, third baseman, outfielder at those cheap prices, I can get with that.
Yeah, we just got main ownership.
There we go.
Oh my God. Whoa. So Scherzer kind of what we expected. I think you kind of nailed it, actually.
I'm sure
around 60.
Genius.
Around 60%, right? You said.
Yeah.
Nothing really sticks out. Our boy Olsen, one of the highest owned hitters. Joyce, the highest owned hitter, assuming he leads off.
Dude, do you see his ownership? Did you see Joyce's ownership on FanDuel?
Yeah.
That's a bit higher than I expected.
Oh, on FanDuel? No, I have it on FanDuel.
86.
I never checked.
We were saying 40.
Well, that was... wait, what do we have for Scherzer?
On FanDuel?
Yeah.
63.
There's no way he gets to 86. I mean, I don't think anybody could get to 86 on a 7-game
If Trout were 2,000.
Very true.
Which apparently will happen if he ever misses a game and gets out of the player pool.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I could look at this a little bit closer. So we've got Scherzer at 58% on DK. And I've got him as 61% top 2. So that's right where I think that he should be. Is there anybody else that we've already talked about that we would want to know? I guess Godley and Chad Kuhl. So Godley at 10%, Kuhl at 13%. And I had Godley at 10% likelihood and Kuhl at 14%. So my likelihood numbers are hitting right on their ownership for right now. That's interesting to me.
Yeah.
I need to play around with this sheet again and make up a new structure. I got too much stuff to show now.
Yeah.
60%.
I don't know.
Scherzer, so much. What do we have? I assume Giolito is at 1%, right? Nope. 4. Okay, so I'm right with Giolito there too. Cool.
I don't know. We can move on to the next game. I've talked way too much about Lucas Giolito. I did not expect this coming in.
We really did. Cardinals and Brewers. Cardinals 4.3 run implied total. Brewers 4.5. It's a 52% chance to win for the Brewers. Carlos Martinez going for St. Louis. Brent Suter going for Milwaukee. I'll probably have a bit more Suter than the field, and I'm neutral on Carlos Martinez right now. I feel like I'm a little heavy, but I like both pitchers here. And then I kind of like a Cardinals stack, but it's more individual guys. What do you think of Carmart?
Yeah, back-to-back games with 7 and 6 walks. That's pretty concerning. So you kind of know what you're getting with him, with Carmart, because he can have those weird games where he walks 6 but strikes out like 9 guys. Like I think he had a game last year where he went like 6 walks, 11 Ks in like 5 innings, and like he just has weird stat lines like that because he can be wild, but his stuff is just nuts and he can't control it. So he's also striking guys out, and that's kind of what you're looking for here. If if you fade Scherzer. I mean, you could fit in Scherzer and Martinez, but you're going to have to get some really low priced bats. So it makes sense. But I like Yelich. I like Shaw. I like Thames against him. So I'll have a bunch of Brewers, and then kind of like Suter. He's just you kind of know what you're getting out of him too. He's gonna allow a couple runs, probably strike out a few guys, and go 5 or 6 innings, and that's appealing on this slate for 6,500.
I'm with you there. I probably have too much of him. I have him at 17% right now. I'll dial that back a little bit. But I'm happy having Suter, and then Carmart is just sort of, I think I'm over the field on him a little bit, and I think both myself and the field are too high. We'll see how that rectifies. It might not matter if we lose, 4 starting pitchers. Let's talk hitters. I'm like all over the map on the Cardinals. I get a ton of Tommy Pham on DK. I barely get him on FanDuel. I get a lot of Marcell Ozuna regardless. I get a lot of Jed Jerko. And then I get like weird shit, like a lot of Harrison Bader on FanDuel. All the guys that I really like are guys that I don't have, like Jose Martinez or Matt Carpenter.
Sure. The Cardinal stack makes sense. I'm not one to be stacking against Suter so much, but on a slate this short, you kind of have to get a little bit creative, and they're going to be somewhat owned, but they should be hard to get to because they're expensive, especially Jose Martinez, Pham, Carpenter, lefty, and then Ozuna. So those first 4 are expensive, and the Scherzer people probably won't be able to get to them much. So it makes sense just for an ownership play, but Suter's tough to stack against. 362 xFIP against righties, only 31% hard contact, giving up a lot of line drives, so maybe getting a little lucky with the BABIP, but strikes out 21%. And then have you seen Suter's game logs on DK? I never checked this, but I just wanted to see what he's been doing. So for DK, last 6 starts, 23, 21, 18, 16, 16, 18.
Not too shabby.
Yeah, and he's got 5 wins out of his last 6, but even if you take away the 4 points, like that would still be 14, 12, 12, 14, 17, 19, which would be perfect. Any of those, maybe not the 12s, you wouldn't be pumped about that, but if he gets you 15 or 16 here, that'd be a pretty nice score for 6,500.
No, I'm totally with you. I've got him at 14.7 right now.
I would take that.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think he looks good. Much like the Cardinals, though, Brewers' bats are weird. Thames and Yelich, I like on FanDuel. I don't like them that much on DK at that price point. But 3,600 for Thames on FanDuel, I get a ton of him. Get a lot of Ryan Braun on FanDuel. I get a lot of Orlando Arcia on FanDuel. They just got really cheap price points on that side.
Yeah, I mean, so are you going to be going out of your way to stack against Carmart? Because I think it's a pretty smart idea.
Yeah, I mean, if he's going to be 20% owned, I like having more of the Brewers. We have the Brewers. Let's see.
He can be really wild, man. Really wild.
Brewers is the 7th most owned stack, so middle of the pack, but Carmart with the 3rd most ownership. So I would say that you should probably have a little bit of Brewers if you don't have Carmart in your lineup.
Yeah.
I think that's a safe direction to go.
Yeah.
Especially since the Brewers are the favorite and projected for more runs.
Okay. I mean, God, this slate sucks, man.
It really does. It's really just not an appealing thing. All right. Blue Jays and Angels. Blue Jays 3.5 run implied total. Angels 4.2. It's a 59% chance to win for the Angels. Aaron Sanchez going for Toronto. Tyler Skaggs going for the Angels. Skaggs looks good, but we're projecting him. Oh, God damn it! I'm missing that stupid Jose Fernandez weird name nonsense again. Anyway, Tyler Skaggs looks pretty good to me. I've got him in 15% of my lineups. We're projecting 10% ownership, but I actually think that he's the most undervalued guy that I've seen so far. I've got him as the top pitcher in 18%. Top 2 pitcher in 18% of sims. So I think Skaggs is probably the guy that I'll be most over the field on. Aaron Sanchez, not a guy that I'm terribly excited about. While you talk about Tyler Skaggs, I'm going to hit the head. BRB, people.
All right. So Skaggs should see 9 righties here, which is actually fine with me, at least. And it should be fine when you're playing him. 24.4% K rate against righties. 3.79 xFIP is solid. Toronto isn't the best strikeout matchup, but if you're looking for a pivot off of Scherzer and you want to go with like Skaggs and Carmart and just try to match Scherzer that way, because you're not going to be able to go Skaggs and Scherzer. I don't even know if that's possible, but even if it was, I wouldn't be excited about doing that. But just another way to help you fit in bats. He's a $3,800 discount. Could Skaggs put up 25 here and be worth his price? I think, yeah, he definitely could. So I think he's a fine play at home. Really low run total for Toronto. Fine pitching weather. I think he gets run support against Aaron Sanchez. So yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine with the Skaggs play. No issue with that. And then Sanchez is kind of tilting. Talked about him on the night shift a little bit. He has like, it seems like I'm always off on Aaron Sanchez. So I don't know. I mean, against a righty heavy lineup, he could be fine, but I'm not really going to be I'm not going to be having my fate in Aaron Sanchez's hands tonight.
Yeah, I'm back, obviously.
Okay.
I'm not the biggest Sanchez fan in the world here. I get 0% of him. He's got the lowest projected top 2 pitcher rate of anyone. I mean, it's 4% of him, Harvey, or Giolito, but you're also spending significantly more money on Sanchez to do it. I think he's probably the worst option on the slate.
I mean, I think Bassett's the worst option. So I would take Sanchez
Really?
over. Yeah, I would take Sanchez over Bassett, Harvey.
Bassett, 14% projected ownership.
He just
Aaron
grades
Sanchez,
out as
4.
yeah, I mean, so Sanchez has been good at times this season, like legitimately good. And then he goes into these stretches where he's walking guys and he can't strike anyone out, which doesn't make sense to me. His velocity is fine. He's healthy, I think.
3.9 projected Ks tonight.
I think he
getting
gets
K, like, not Kinsler, not Trout, not Pujols, not Andrelton Simmons.
well, not Simmons for sure, but
Yeah.
Valbuena definitely could K.
Sure.
Calhoun, he's fine. I mean, he could K him easily.
But those are also the lefty-righty matchups, what makes it even scarier for Sid. This is a terrible matchup for him.
Oh, it's not a good matchup by any means, but I don't know, dude. Whatever. I don't even want to talk about Sanchez that much because I don't have a super strong opinion on him. I mean, if someone wanted to play him, I wouldn't think it's a crazy play. He strikes out righties at a much higher rate, a much lower whip, all that. Like, creates a lot of ground balls. Could be efficient in this one in a big park, but whatever. Like,
Alrighty. So, yeah, I'm going to end up being over the field on Skaggs. What do you think of Angels bats?
Angels bats.
Because I like them a lot.
I like Trout and Valbuena and Simmons the most, but I'm not going to be super heavy on them.
So I like Kinsler, Trout, Upton. I like Simmons. I like Valbuena. Probably like, Jose Fernandez as well. Cheap.
Jose Miguel.
Weird dual ownership makes things a little bit easier. So if you don't want Pujols in the stack, you can go to Fernandez. If you don't want Kinsler in the stack, you can go to Fernandez. cheapens things up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Makes it easier to get to Trout. I'm perfectly fine with the Angels stack. I don't see the need to go too crazy just because no one's going to have Sanchez. So there's not a lot of like fun shit for it.
Yeah.
That's probably it. Final game?
Yeah, final game.
Padres and Giants. Padres 3.2 run implied total. Giants 4.0. A 59% chance to win for San Francisco. Tyson Ross going for the Padres. Matty Bum Bum's going for San Francisco. I love Bumgarner here. I just wish that the public didn't. I've got him in 32% of my lines right now. We're projecting 29, and I said that he has a 28% chance of being a top 2 scorer on DK. Everything appears to be in alignment for Bumgarner. And that's just a direction that I want to go. It's not much of a bats game for me. It's really just Bumgarner.
Yeah, I don't think the bats are that appealing. I agree with that. I'm lower on Bumgarner than you. I haven't seen the same Bumgarner that we're used to since he's returned from his injury. He's been fine, but the strikeout numbers are way down. 3 strikeouts in each of the first 3 starts. And the swinging strike rate is way down. 5.5 and 4.5 in his last 2 starts after 12.2 in his first one. Let's see his velocity. Velocity is the same every start, pretty much. So I think he's healthy. I just don't know if he's the same pitcher anymore. Gonna get a bunch of righties here. Almost all righties, actually. And then I think he's going to be chalk to top that off. Or like the maybe second or third chalkiest pitcher. So I don't know, man. All those factors make me not want to play Bumgarner, even in a good matchup.
Really?
Yeah, I get the play. I'll say that. I'm not excited about playing Bumgarner at all for that price.
Deuce 2. If Sanchez's stuff was unreal, he wouldn't be dog shit. So, call me back when he has a season that's good that isn't just 2016.
He does have good stuff. I wouldn't say unreal. Or he can have good stuff at times, I should say. Because it's changed even this year. Like he's got a 94 or 95 mile an hour fastball, which is good. Man, I wouldn't say unreal. So
I would say that he is not good. The 4.64 xFIP over his last 215 innings points me in that direction. He's K'd 6.8 guys per 9, which I don't know where this unreal stuff is coming from, but if he had unreal stuff, that number wouldn't be 6.8 in 215 innings. It'd be 8.6 or higher. So I want him to be good, but he is not the same guy that he was when he was a prospect 7 years ago.
He was a blister guy? I don't remember that.
Former number 2 overall, former
Rich Hill?
round 1, pick 2. Yeah. Man, he's good. He was supposed to be so good, but Jeff Sullivan wrote an article on Fangraphs on April 6th saying Aaron Sanchez figured something out. I think he forgot it again.
It looked like he did at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, here we are.
Not so much lately.
No.
Except for the last start was pretty good. But I can't act like I know when Sanchez is going to have a good start.
I can act like I know when he's not going to have a good start because those things happen way more frequently. I can call those out all the time. Anything interesting at all outside of Bumgarner from an ownership perspective? 12% Perella on DK is our projected ownership. I think that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think Perella's fine if he's leading off. Hits lefties well, 3,200, dual position eligibility, and then you get some leverage off of Bumgarner. Same with Villanueva, same with Renfroe. so I wouldn't say I'm looking to stack against Bumgarner. But those three guys I like, and then even Franmil Reyes. So I kind of mentioned a bunch of guys where you could stack, but I think there are better spots for bats, assuming we have the White Sox game and the Cubs Reds game as well.
Yeah, everything changes if one of those games goes down the drain. So there's just too many powerful bats.
Right. If both of them do, then the slate sucks even more. Like, it's just an awful slate if that's the case.
You want to look at some crunches?
Yeah, let's look at some crunches.
Give me 2 pitchers.
Scherzer. Let's do someone in like the Cool Bassett range. Either like Cool Bassett, Suter, one of those guys.
All right, Cool it is. How about Valbuena, Kinsler, Simmons, Calhoun, Upton, Pham, Jerko, Molina?
Yeah.
Or we can get to the 5-man A's stack with 3-man Giants. I don't love it.
No, you're not going to love any of your bats with Scherzer unless you play Giolito or like a reliever.
So let me look at this quick. Top scoring lineups with Scherzer, somewhere in the 104 to 102 range of my projections. If I don't include Scherzer, there's a way to do that, right?
I think you just did it.
No, I want to include everyone except for Scherzer. Bumgarner. How do I make Scherzer go away? I don't know how to fucking do this. I wanted to. Ultimately, I think that you can get to the same high end without Scherzer as with him, so I might end up being a little bit low on him.
Okay.
Which I'm not too upset about if we're projecting 58% ownership.
Yeah.
But he can obviously put up quite a large output today.
Sure.
I guess we should look and see what we can get if we don't use Scherzer. So would you rather do Bumgarner or Skaggs as their second pitcher?
Let's try Bumgarner.
Okay.
I think he'll be the guy that people will drop down to if they don't go to
You
Scherzer.
can do Bumgarner and Martinez a lot if that interests you. Or Bumgarner and Skaggs, for that matter.
I mean, I'd want huge upside, so I'd want to get like Carmart to try to match Scherzer.
So that Carmart Bumgarner lineup has higher. These top two have higher projected totals than the Scherzer lineups we were looking at, because you get 5 Cubs and 3 A's. So you could do Cubs A's nice stacks with Bumgarner and Martinez. I think that's a really interesting way to look at it.
I agree. You're just saving so much. Carmart, he has like Scherzer type games, maybe not that high where he can get like 45, but Carmart's had games where he's gotten 10 strikeouts, and for 8K, what are you saving? 6,500? You're saving a Brent Suter off of Scherzer.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy to think about like that.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick look at FanDuel, even though, again, it's useless. Half of these lineups have Scherzer in them. Bro, that software you use looks amazing. Did I build that? Did I build Fantasy Cruncher? No.
FantasyCruncher.com.
Yeah.
No?
That was not mine. Unless you mean my Excel sheet, at which point then the answer is yes, I did. Okay, so do we want to look at Scherzer or non-Scherzer? I guess non-Scherzer makes it more interesting, right?
Yeah.
But at the
It's just
very
gonna.
least, I want to see if Scherzer's top end is higher. So we're at high 130s with Scherzer. Where's the first one without him? Yeah, Scherzer looks to be the nut play on FanDuel pretty clearly.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd be looking at someone like Bumgarner, Cubs, and A's. Man, if those games get rained out, like this whole slate changes if one of these games goes away because that's how good the Cubs and A's look tonight.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Give the people some early slate info, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, so got Severino, Paxton, Freeland are the three guys that I want to use on this early slate. So Paxton just too cheap going into Yankee Stadium. Looks like a little bit of a watered down lineup. Well, there's no Clint Frazier leading off, and then there's no Gary Sanchez. But Romine's actually been a pretty good hitter this year, so maybe not a watered down lineup. Tough spot for Paxton, but you get to save a bunch off of him. 8,300, the strikeouts could be there. He's striking out like 30% of righties, so the upside's there at that price. And then Severino just has incredible stuff, some of the best in the MLB, so he makes for good SP1 material, especially when I like Freeland for 6,100. It's in Coors, but the Mets have been awful against lefties this entire year. I've kind of regurgitated the stats, but I'll do it one more time. On the season against lefties, the Mets have a 26% K rate, 114 ISO, 73 WRC+, 293 on base percentage, just like bottom 5 in every stat that you can imagine against lefties. They have more right-handed bats in the lineup now with Flores and Frazier back, but it's still not a great lineup. It's Coors Field. You get leverage off the Mets bats. So that's where I would be going. I would be going with Freeland and Paxton or Severino. Do you have the crunches? Let's see.
Yeah. A lot of Kyle Gibson.
A lot of Kyle Gibson?
Yeah.
You can, yeah, so I kind of stumbled my way through the night shift talking about him because I get why someone would want to play him for 5,900. A little bit of wind blowing in, but again, it's a righty against the Red Sox, and that's just been an awful strategy the whole year. So,
yeah, Gibson, Paxton, Severino, Freeland are the four in order. But you were looking, if we look at like Freeland and Paxton, you can do
you could stack in. So the
a lot
reason
of
I also
Rocky stacks.
right. So the reason I also like Freeland is for correlation because I love the Rockies. I think he's going to have a bunch of run support against Mats, and then he's just going to he's going to have lower ownership than he should. If he wasn't in Coors Field here, he would probably be the chalk SP2. But since he is in Coors Field, that ownership's going to be spread around to Gibson and Porcello and Paxton. These guys are all going to have higher ownership because of that reason. So,
yeah, I have no interest in this garbage 3-game slate.
Can you get to Severino, Freeland with Rockies?
Yeah.
Nice. Well, it's not the. Oh, you get Arenado, Story. Wow. Man, that's pretty good to me.
It's not shabby. Not at all. I like this second one. Iannetta, LeMahieu, Arenado, Parra, Cargo, Robbie Grossman, Logan Morrison, Brock Holt.
Nice.
Not the biggest Brock Holt guy in the world, but like, I'll take a shortstop.
Lets you get in everyone else, yeah.
Alrighty, that is a quick look at the early slate.
Yeah.
That's all we got. Spotlight hitters and stacks are out. Are pitchers out?
Pitchers are out.
All the articles are out for today. I will have some quick hits out later this afternoon. This is going to be the last time you see Jake and I for about a week. I go on vacation starting tomorrow. I will be back on Thursday. You and I can talk about this a little later. The Thursday show is going to need to start a little later if we do it. I'll probably get back to my house at like 9:30, 10 o'clock, somewhere in that neighborhood. So a little bit later than normal.
Sounds good.
But yeah, I'll be on vacay, so none of my gorgeous face for the next couple days. I'll be in the live stream tonight. No Jake taking over the Thursday slate for today. So it'll be myself and Chris again, and that'll be my final video until next Thursday. Might pop into like some random stuff while I'm gone, just say hey, but it'll be minimal.
Yeah, man, have a good trip.
I kind of want to play while I'm on vacation because I get the benefit of the 3-hour time difference. I can get my stuff in and still go about my day.
Yeah, exactly.
I just heard the wife yell no from outside my office door.
Oh, that's funny. So I guess we won't be seeing you in on any slates.
No. You guys get to keep your money for a couple days.
Yeah, that's what I'm planning on doing too this weekend. So
all right,
keep my money.
You got anything else you need to add?
No. Enjoy this slate. Don't risk your entire bankroll. Keep an eye on that weather as well in the Cubs, Reds, and A's, White Sox.
There you go. For Jake, I'm Josh. Goodbye.